The medium sedan segment is a tough nut to crack for any automaker, regardless of whether we're talking mainstream or premium. And in fact, the medium designation is a bit of an understatement because these days the D segment is dominated by large cars. Audi has just refreshed its A6 model range as part of a midlife update, and the S6 is the majestic flagship of the range. But the big question is, who would actually buy such a car and why? In one word, performance. The S-Badge is all about speed and dynamics, about rapid responses and driver engagement. In many ways, those traits are the complete antithesis to the image of wafty handling, cosseting comfort and pure refinement that tends to be associated with large luxury sedans. But the S6 wants to be different. It wants to prove that you can enjoy it like a sports car despite its bulk and mass. It wants to engage and entertain the driver. It wants to outdrag more mundane machines off the line. In short, it wants to be a hooligan. And that's why we're testing it on a racetrack, because this is its spiritual home. Not that you'd say so looking at the car from the outside. There are no outrageous wings, no flared wheel arches, no low-down spoilers, and no gaudy stripes. What you do get, though, are crisp, tailored lines, a wider front grille, tapered headlights, and a low and aggressive stance. The big 20-inch wheels are a 35,000 Rand option, but they add to the S-car's underlying menace, while the lower front spoiler, larger air intakes and more pronounced rear apron all suggest that there's more to the sedan than imposing dimensions. It gets even more interesting under the skin. Usually big cars are also heavy cars, but this latest S6 is trimmer than expected thanks to a much wider use of aluminium and so-called hot-shaped steel, which is both stronger and lighter than normal steel. All of this means that even the full-spec S6 comes in under 1900 kilos. Not exactly a featherweight, but impressive for a full-spec car that's almost 5 meters long and 1.87 meters wide. Those generous dimensions feel even more generous from inside the car. The cabin, of course, very spacious with lots of leg and headroom both front and rear, and all the bells and whistles, a big color screen, Bluetooth, sat-nav, 4-zone climate control, the list goes on and on. The normal S6 cabin execution includes sport seats, but our test car featured the special high-backed S sport seats as well as quilted Valcona leather in an eye-catching Aris red with contrasting grey stitching, all for a cool 65,000 Rand extra. That colour scheme may be too extrovert for some, but it suits the performance character of the S6. And besides, the overall execution remains the epitome of elegant functionality with superb ergonomics and high comfort and safety levels. The performance heart of the S6 is every bit as impressive as it sounds. It's a 4-litre turbocharged V8 producing 331 kilowatts of maximum power and a torque peak of 550 Newton meters. Perhaps most impressive of all, though, is the fact that all that torque is already available from just 1400 RPM. Quattro all-wheel drive and a 7-speed S-Tronic gearbox ensure that the V8's urge is delivered seamlessly and efficiently. A drive select system allows users to choose between different driving modes or to customize their own. Parameters that can be set include steering assistance, throttle response, and the damper settings. In other words, depending on personal preference and driving conditions, you can set up the S6 to prioritize comfort and refinement on an urban commute or to emphasize poise and power through the curves and corners of a mountain pass. There aren't too many mountain passes within striking distance of Johannesburg, but a racing circuit like Midvaal Raceway makes for an excellent substitute. In the tight corners, you can feel this car working hard, mainly because of the weight transfer and the fact that the corners are really, really tight and challenging. But on the fast, open stuff, it really comes into its own. It feels composed, it feels quick, and it feels very entertaining to drive. 0 to 100 time, 4.6 seconds, top speed limited as per usual to 250 kilometers an hour. But really, it's not about straight line speed, this car. It's all about the way it eats corners for breakfast. That's both a good and a bad thing. Good because it demonstrates just how superior the setup of the big Audi is, but bad in the sense that the S6 makes even going really fast feel all too easy, which underplays its true capabilities and robs the experience of vital drama. That said, most S6 buyers will enjoy the balance between refinement and dynamic appeal, reveling in the fact that the Audi can play the roles of luxury cruiser and high-performance sports sedan with equal conviction. I said at the beginning of this test that large cars increasingly struggle to attract the attentions of a motoring public looking for smaller, more affordable and more efficient cars. But the S6 proves that bigger can be better, at least some of the time. It's a little bit awkward to pilot in tight parking lots, but give it an open piece of road, a challenging set of corners, and this car becomes a real grin machine, while still offering comfort and luxury as well. A superb turbocharged V8 is at the core of the big Audi's appeal, together with a slick dual-clutch gearbox and grippy quattro all-wheel drive. The updated exterior is crisp and fresh, but not exactly groundbreaking. However, the performance is both effortless and intoxicating enough to forgive the car its bulk when squeezing into tight parking spots.